Thanks everyone, it's good to be here. I only started public speaking a couple of weeks ago. So this year, I've been forced to do it, so but I like to speak to an audience. There's lots of things that I want to say. Lots of things that I want to educate people about. It's about Australia. It's about our First National people. It's about our history. Your history just don't go back 230 years. It goes back thousands of years. So part of the history that's been taught in Australia has been missing. They teach us this, but what about this? And that's what I want to tell the world about. And I tell my kids. I'm a teacher, I work in schools. There's 230 schools that I work in. I'm teaching education, teaching about culture and history, and about our people. All right, that gets to the acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I'd like to extend that to the Aboriginals present, and people of the past, present and future, for they are the memories, the tradition, the culture and hopes for Aboriginal Australia. We must always remember that under this concrete and stone, this is and always has been traditional Aboriginal land. And I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome those who come from across the seas that are now called Australia home. Welcome. North Sydney, we look across to North Sydney, we see the Gamaragal people, the Gringai people. We look to the west, the Darug. We go down south, you see Tarawal. We go across the Laparoos, we've got the Vigigal people. On the Parramatta River, you've got the Wongal people. They make up the clan, they are the clan groups of the large Eora Nation. The Eora Nation extends to the Hawkesbury River, across to the Nepean, and down to the Wollongong. It covers the national park as well. All right, I come and I want to speak about our rivers. River for life. Water is our blood. Without water, we cannot live. Without blood, we don't live, we die. Murray-Darling Basin. It's a major river that runs through Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria. The most famous river in Australia, one of the biggest river systems, is now dead. That's what I want to talk about. I done a trip a couple of weeks ago, 4-day trips. We travelled to Walgett, Warren, Burke and Wilcannia and Menindee. The sights of our rivers are devastating. The destruction that have been caused over the last 230 years. My mother, who lived on those rivers, she fished in those rivers. She camped. She walked. My mother was born under a tree on the edge of the desert. No one knows her age. She ain't got a birth certificate. She still ain't got a birth certificate. Mum's now in her 90s. Her mother lived till 110. My mother still cooks. She still hunts. She still cleans. Still got her memories. Why? Because she drank the fresh water. She lived off the traditional food. Food from the bush. The nuts, the berries, the fruit, the animals. Where are they today? Me and my mother walked the riverbeds of the Darling River a couple of weeks ago. She said in her lifetime she have never seen the river in that condition. She have never seen it in that condition. Never. That river ran for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years since the beginning of time. What happened? What have happened? People, we need to wake up. We need to start waking up. I went to Walgett. We spoke to some elders there. They were some members of the management committee of the Murray-Darling Basin. They spoke about the corruption that's going on. Who's managing our rivers? They have failed to look after our rivers. They have failed. 5 years ago, there was $30 million given to the Murray-Darling Basin Authority to protect and look after our rivers. 5 years later, what happened? Not a single drop flowing in the river. Why? Because of the greed. The big corporate investors. The privatisation of water. The greed. We've got dams in the top end of New South Wales that are bigger than Sydney Harbour. Why are they taking this water? Why have we got big irrigators? They're pumping so much water out, filling their own private dams. Cotton farmers, floodplain farmers are just pumping as much water as they can because they know they can. There's no law to say that. There's a failure in the system. State, government, local. They're failing us. They failed my people. 30% of Aboriginal population live on the river, the Murray-Darling Basin. Those little communities are our biggest percentage of Aboriginal people. That's where they live. Here's the plan to wipe out our First Nation people. Think about it. Here's the plan to kill off those river towns. The government wants to wipe them out, want everyone to move to the city or the big rural towns. Why? My mother don't want to move from her place because she lived there. That's where her ancestors have lived for thousands of years. I went to Brewarrina with the ancient fish traps, my place, where I was born. The ancient fish traps are the oldest man-made structure in the world. They're older than the pyramids in Egypt. And we can prove that. They're older than the pyramids in Egypt. Why are we not protecting those sites? There's hundreds of Aboriginal sacred sites along the river system, but now they've been destroyed. We can't sit down on the river to tell our stories to our kids about the water and about the fish because there's nothing there to look at. There's nothing there to look at. Physically, they've got to see the water running. We talk about the rainbow serpent, Mundagara, that created the rivers that are living in the deep water holes. We can't tell our kids those stories anymore. We can't tell them why the fish was created, why it was put there. How totems are slowly being destroyed. The wildlife, the aquatic life, the ecosystem. Along those rivers, some of the totems were fish, the yellow belly. My totem is the kangaroo. I'm not allowed to kill the kangaroo, I'm not allowed to eat the kangaroo. Why? Because it's there for a reason. The great creator, the great spirit by Amnesty has given us our totems. There's clan totems, there's nation totems, there's individual totems. That was for a reason. To sustain our environment and to keep our animals and birds alive. So they don't be wiped out. So they not all become killed or wiped or become extinct. Look what happened over the last 230 years. Hundreds of our animals have been extinct. Why? We're killing the environment. Who's going to live along the river where there's no water? There's no kangaroos. There's no emus. There's no birds. That's the problem. That's the problem. Then I travelled to Burke. I went to the river in Burke. They were pumping one water hole, water to go into the next water hole. They're stealing from someone else. To put in the main water system in Burke so the town can survive. I went to the town Weir. On one side you got water, and on the other side the Weir there's hundreds of kilometres no water. All the way down to Wilcannia. And then I went to Wilcannia. They're drinking bore water. All the towns are now being introduced to bore water. You know, bore water is not healthy. It's got a lot of salt. Hundreds of our people are now on a dialysis because their kidneys are gone. So there's a health problem. There's a financial problem because these people can't afford water. They can't afford drinking water. I don't want to go too long. Just let me know. I can talk forever. But these are some of the big issues. Where are our water going? Corporate greed. Profit before people. Is this just happening in New South Wales? Friends, it's going to happen all over the world. Sydney. Look at Cook River. What's wrong with it? It's polluted. You can't fish there. You can't eat fish. Look at the air we breathe. Polluted. The food we eat is toxic. So these are some of the truths that's happening. But the river is my priority. Aboriginal native title rights to the rivers is so important. We have a right to the water. Our human right to the water where we live and the river that goes past our nation. Who's taking care of it? Who's controlling these things? People, we need to go back and say, we need to manage our rivers properly. We need to manage our communities properly. We need people to stand up and say we've had enough. What goes on in those country towns affects us here in Sydney. Food prices go up. Food prices go up. Those people who live out there are humans. They're like us. They're our great family, a world family. There's only one planet, friends. There's only one planet we live in. We can't go anywhere else. Not yet. So we all need to start living together. Look after our environment. That was our Creator told us. Look after our environment. We can't live without the environment. It was created first. We can't live without the tree. It gives us oxygen. You cut down all those trees, we have no oxygen. Stop the clearing of the land. Start putting back the environment the way it was. And that's what I plead, and that's my goal, is to look after the world we live in, and the children in the great family that lives here. Thank you.